Tune in for this week's Xamarin Show, Part 1, all about pop-ups, where I have Andrew popping in to tell us all about it. Welcome back, everybody, to the Xamarin Show. This week, I have on my good friend, Andrew Hoofling. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. So I've known you for some time. We've crossed paths here and there. We'll get into that a little bit. But for the people who don't know you, what do you do? Where do you live? What's up with you?
I live in upstate New York, just between Rochester and Syracuse, and I'm a lead software engineer at FileOnQ. It's a company based out of Seattle. We build software for police departments, first responders. Right now, a lot of my stuff has been focused on building mobile apps that uses integrated barcode scanners for evidence warehouses that police departments have, and we've done it all with Xamarin Forms. I've been doing open source development for quite some time, and that's how you and I met. But that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah, and I think, I see your little certificate there in the background, Microsoft MVP, so that means you're out there in the community doing all kind of good stuff, just like open source contributions, of course. And today we're here to talk about one of your biggest achievements in open source contributions, I think. Because before we go anywhere, I have to say this on camera, a big thank you, Andrew, because we're going to talk all about the pop-ups that you've been implementing now in the Xamarin Community Toolkit. But this PR, well, I'll let you tell the story. This PR originated in Xamarin Forms.
Yeah, it's actually been a long time coming. So before I started a FileOnQ, I ran my own business, Heffling Software, a consulting firm, and I started a FileOnQ just about 2 years ago. It'll be 2 years in April, and I had this task of building this mobile app. And our old mobile app was built on like a Windows embedded. But anyways, so I had this task of building a mobile app, and we needed to do pop-ups. And I started looking through the Xamarin Forms spec, and I came across Easy wrote this really nice spec. And when David edited it, he said, "This is hard." And I looked at it and I was like, okay, we got everything here. We got iOS, we got Android, we got UWP. It's a clear spec. I can implement this. So I went back to the project we were working on and said, let's go and implement this, because one of the things I try to do with open source and corporate software development is let's find a way where we can contribute back and still benefit from the whole from everything we're developing. So we went back and we developed it, and we shipped it in the fall of that year. So we've been dogfooding the pop-up implementation that just got merged since the fall of 2019. And it's been working great for us. And then, so we took that code and we submitted a pull request in the beginning of 2020. And then long conversations here and there with the Xamarin team, we decided to take that pull request and move it over to the toolkit. And now, just the other month, we finally got it merged after starting. I think I started working on it about 1.5 years ago.
Like I said, it's one of your bigger achievements, I think. So yeah, really great. So, and again, I can't thank you enough for all the work, the interaction that we had with the Xamarin Forms team. And, I think that's a great approach to, take something, implement that in your own application, and already, thinking about contributing that back, because that is so important for that ecosystem. So that is great. The pop-ups, that's what it's all about. You've implemented it, and because you're using it in your own product, it's been battle tested, right? So it should be a very cool, and you're here today to tell us all about it. So I guess we just hop into some code and show how to get started.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me get Visual Studio ready here, and we could take a look at the some sample code I got. So earlier today, I went ahead and set up the sample project. It is just the standard Xamarin Forms sample app. The only difference here is I went and downloaded the latest Xamarin Community Toolkit nightly build. So I'm on 1.1.0 preview 1025. And right now we got an Android emulator here. So I'm just going to go and hit the go button and show you that this is just a standard project. I haven't modified anything yet except adding the toolkit. So we've all seen this when we go on to file a new project. So let's go and add some pop-ups. And what I'm going to do is let's add a button onto that screen there that will display a pop-up. So relatively simple. Let's just say, not that, it's text. I'll say show pop-up. And we'll just wire up a click event to that.
Right. Yeah, while you're typing, let me just quickly add, because I noticed you installed that preview version, because the pop-ups have been merged into the toolkit, but it's right now only at the recording of this video, only in the pre-release of 1.1. So you can find it from the 1.1 version and up. Like I said, at the time of recording, it's only in preview, but expect it to be stable soon. So I just wanted to quickly add that.
Oh, it's a good point I forgot to mention. Thank you. So we just created our button. We just wired up an event. So we'll put a little to-do comment here of I want to display a pop-up. But let's go create our pop-up first, because that's where the fun happens. So right now there is no pop-up control built into Visual Studio, but we can start with the content page. So I'm just gonna go File. I'm gonna create a new file. I'm gonna select a content page, and let's create a Hello World pop-up. And it'll generate, it's a standard file here. What I'm going to do to get started, we're just going to blow away all of that. We don't need it. So whenever you're dealing with new views in the toolkit, you got to add the namespace. So let's add our XML namespace for XCT, for Xamarin Community Toolkit. And there's actually a URI for it. So if you type in toolkit in Visual Studio, you'll get the correct namespace. And so let's update this from content page to XCT pop-up. Now we are ready to create a pop-up. I am just going to adjust some spacing there. And let's go and just like we would with the content page, let's go add a stack layout, something to put our controls in. And we're going to say label. And let's just say hello world from XCT pop-ups.
So this pop-up thing, the XCT pop-up, is that just a content page, a content view?
What the pop-ups are doing is it's rendering a native pop-up for Android, for iOS, for UWP. It's not doing a content page. It's actually taking under the implementation details of it is it takes the code, the XAML that you put in, and it generates the native control and then injects that into or adds it into the native pop-up control. So it is actually creating a content view in the implementation, but it's creating whatever that natively turns into, and then that gets added to whatever native pop-up. So for Android, it's going to be using a dialog. For iOS, it's going to be using a popover. For UWP, it's going to be using a flyout. But it's still operating the same way any content view would operate inside of Xamarin Forms today. We're just kind of putting these different pieces together.
Cool.
So right in here, I just added standard content that you would on a content view, content page. The only difference so far is we are using this XCT pop-up. So now we can render our pop-up. So let's head back to our main page, .xaml.cs. We can get rid of this to-do comment, and I'm going to say navigation, because what we did is we added onto the navigation object, the iNavigation interface that's available on any page to be able to display these pop-ups. So I'm going to say show pop-up. But we need to add our extension method. So I just hit Control dot on my keyboard. I'm going to say using Xamarin Community Toolkit .extensions. And now we can display our pop-up. So I'll just say new hello world pop-up. And we will hit the go button. It needs to build first. So we'll just hit the go button and we'll see. Nope, that's going to fail because I forgot to update one last thing. There's always one thing. On the Hello World pop-up, I forgot to update the code behind. That pesky code behind.
Yes.
So we will change this to pop-up. We'll add our namespace, and we'll just get rid of some using statements. Don't like those there. Okay, now it'll work. It was actually giving us a proper error. So now we'll hit the go button. And we will be, when we click that button, we'll be able to display a pop-up. And
so again, because while we're waiting for this,
yep.
What you mentioned, so basically we are leveraging like the real native pop-up experience then for Android, iOS, and UWP, right?
That's correct.
All right.
So let's walk through right before we hit the button. So this button is going to fire this button clicked event. We're going to say navigation.show popup, and we said I got a new hello world pop-up. And all we're doing in that hello world pop-up is we're displaying a label that says hello world from XCT pop-ups. So I click show pop-ups, and it's super big pop-up, but we have a native pop-up. Let's fix that. So let's make that a little bit better. We're going to add a size. So this is just XY for your size. We'll say 300 by 300. That's usually going to generate a nice small pop-up in the middle of your screen, what we would expect. And you could specify.
You're changing this in. Sorry, you're changing this in XAML, but this doesn't get picked up by XAML Hot Reload. It doesn't.
Yes, thank you. I had a note to mention something on that. So XAML Hot Reload kind of works with pop-ups. Okay. When Hot Reload first came out, I chatted with the team, and since we didn't have this implemented anywhere, it only kind of works.
Right. Okay.
So let's get the pop-up rendering. So there, the pop-up is now rendering at a better size. It says hello world. So like if I were to go and update the positioning of this, we said like vertical options, we'll say we want our message to be in the middle, let's say. And I hit save, nothing happens. But if I close the pop-up and I render it again.
Right, okay.
Gotcha. So it kind of works. For the demos, I usually just close it. But what you're seeing here is 100% native pop-up. So anything that you would expect to happen from the Android operating system the way it works with this pop-up, you're going to see it happening. It automatically dimmed the background and it created this new control that we could then start putting things into. The size of it that we set over here at line 5, that's being managed by Android. We're not, there's no tricks here to get this to work. This is all native.
Right, because I remember when we started working on this, and I say we, but I mean you, but that's how I do it. I remember that there was kind of like an alternative pop-up implementation, which is now in Forms, which allows you to, give some kind of semi-transparent background to a modal page, so you can kind of mimic the pop-up feeling, but this is again just the real native bits, so more in line with the Xamarin Forms paradigm, if you will.
Yes, and like one of the biggest things that I noticed with the simulated pop-up is up here at the top of for at least on Android, this area does not get dimmed. It's right. Only, but when we do our pop-up, the entire page gets the entire screen gets dimmed. So there are some trade-offs. They both have their place in the community. But since I'm on Windows, I thought I would show UWP as well. So we just did all that stuff with pop-ups. If I set my target to x64 and we run it, we'll be able to have our UWP app launch and show the exact same pop-up. It's 100% native, just like we did with Android, but in this case, it's going to be using a UWP flyout control instead of an Android dialog. So I hit show pop-up, and we have our pop-up.
Just again with the same kind of dimming and things, and
exactly. Yeah. However, I didn't have to write any of the code to do this dimming.
Exactly.
It just worked.
It just worked. I love that. Cool. Things that just work. What else, Andrew?
Yeah. So for our getting started talk here, I wanted to show a little bit about positioning these pop-ups. So if we look back at UWP, it's nice that we have a pop-up in the middle of the screen. That's usually where you want to put them, but maybe you want to throw it down here on the left, down here on the right, and move it all around. I can come over here to this to our actual pop-up, and I could specify our vertical options. So let's say we want to go to the top of the page, and we also want to go to the top left of the page. So we can specify our vertical options, start and expand for both. We'll save that. Okay, this is one of those points where I'm going to need to restart. So Hot Reload works with a couple dragons. All right, so we'll hit show pop-up again, and now it's up at the top left.
Awesome. So and I can imagine. yeah, if you do the other options, then we can move it to all the corners. And what I love about this is that you are using like the Xamarin Forms properties, but it gets taken up, rendered natively, and we still have all the native advantages of all the stuff here. But we're still using like the Forms properties. Nothing new was really added, as long as you use that pop-up object, right?
Correct. We're trying to follow the traditional Xamarin Forms philosophy of we got our shared code. And we're rendering everything natively. And the nice thing that really clicked when I first put this together was we're not doing anything that Xamarin Forms hasn't been able to do in the past, as far as we're putting things on a screen and then we're using the Xamarin Forms bits to render our stack layout, our labels, our buttons, and then we're just adding that as a view to the pop-up.
Exactly. Very cool, Andrew. And there's a lot more to unpack here, but that's why we have decided that this will be a part 1, and a part 2 is coming. So thank you so much for Andrew, and we're going to have you back for the next episode, and we're going to see a lot more of this awesome stuff. While you're waiting for the next episode, please click that like button, subscribe to our channel, and we'll be seeing you for that next episode.